You want diversity. You want to create diverse stories, diverse environment, diverse book, diverse movie, diverse games. You need to create diverse characters, diverse antagonists. To create a diversity of antagonists, you need a typology. Here we present to you our 7 main types of antagonists. The first section is the Nemesis and the Mentor. The second section concerns the rivals. The first section englobes the Pupils and the Friends. The last section is about the enemies and the Fiends. Our first type of antagonist is the Nemesis. The Nemesis is generally built in relationship with the main character. Therefore, she's a main character herself. She's one of the most important characters in your story. She often wants to best the main character, the protagonist, or another antagonist maybe if you have multiple main characters. She is often built in mirror with the protagonist or the main character and will, in most cases, reflect the worst part of what this main character is or what this main character could have become. Our second type of antagonist is the Mentor. The Mentor keyword here is incompleteness. The lessons, the principles, the rules the Mentor will insufflate into your main character, into your protagonist, will be incomplete, and it will be up to the main character, up to the protagonist to complete them. Most often, your main character, your protagonist, will want to become different from the Mentor. Even if the Mentor has laid the foundation on what this character will become, there will be some significant differences between your protagonist or your antagonist, if it's the mentor of your antagonist, and her mentor. The mentor often lead the protagonist or the antagonist or any main character to a valuable outcome because they give them valuable resources. That's another defining trait of the mentor. So, incompleteness and value. Our third kind of antagonists are the rivals. Rivals want to challenge your character. They want to challenge your story. They want to challenge your world. That's what a rival is. Rivals are here for the game. Rivals want to play. That's the main word here. The key term that defines rivals. They're here to play. They're also, in many cases, supporter. Since they want your protagonist, they want your main character to up their game. They want to be on the same level as your character. Because if they're not, there's no competition anymore. So they're supporting your main character, they're supporting your protagonist because they want to preserve the level of competition. Our fourth kind of antagonists are friends. Friends are your character's antagonists if they are friends in the long run. Why? Because they'll stop your protagonist from doing stupid things. They'll stop your protagonist from taking risky, overly risky, reckless decisions. They'll stop your protagonist if they're too much in the short term, because friends are here for the long run. Friends should always stop, oppose, attack the main character because they're supporter. That's the main reason why they will stop the main character. And that's because friends are led and meant to be led your character to happiness. Our sixth kind of antagonists are the pupils. Now, pupils may not look like obvious antagonists, but remember, since we've established that mentors are antagonists to your main character, your protagonist, will be the mentor of these pupils, and so they'll have an antagonistic relationship. So therefore, by accommodation, they'll tend to have a more antagonistic relationship as time passes. And now, just for the keyword here is attachment, and that's where it will cause problems. Pupils are inherently weaker than your protagonist, than your character. They're weaker mentally, they're weaker physically. So they'll need protection from your character. Pupils often lead to amusing situation, and that's one of their most important added value. They bring joy, they bring enlightenment to your stories. Pupils are defined again by the attachment they bring to the character. So your character is deeply attached to her pupils, which is why they will experience the most pain if they lose those pupils. Antagonist type number 6, the enemies. Now, the enemies, by opposition to the pupils, are built on detachment. You get enemies because you have a different alignment. You get enemies because you're from an opposing organization. Enemies will be a constant, a permanent opposition, not necessarily to your character as an individual, but to your character as a member of a facing group, another faction. Enemyship is based on alignment most of the time. Enemyship is based on what your character is supposed to do, is forced to do, is meant to do, not necessarily what she wants to do. So enemies are extremely detached and they're based on alignment. Our last type of antagonists are the Fiends. Now, Fiends will most often be the less relatable kind of antagonist. And if there's in all these types one type that you're generally, and your public, and your character will not want to be related to is Fiends. Fiends are defined by the fact that they exploit others, the fact that they abuse others, the fact that they make use of status to create rigid situation, rigid state of mind, rigid perspective in order to justify the abuse. They create positions, they create situation where they can continue to exploit others. The defining factor when it comes to Fiends is unfaithfulness. Fiends will get rid of others, no problem. They will betray, no problem. And the fact is, they'll not see that as a betrayal, because the character they betrayed is not a character for them. It's not a human for them. It's not an individual. It's a tool. So it's fine to abuse them and betray them. If you've enjoyed this video, show us by liking it, so we'll produce more of that type of content. Also, if you've enjoyed it, this other piece of content may interest you.